The Lakers are currently in the midst of a 5-game win streak, going 8-2 over their past 10 games and are now 16 games above 500. And well, throughout that time frame, obviously the headline and the big talking point has been Luka Doncic, him being acquired by their team and a massive blockbuster trade that came with it. But what not many people are talking about or giving credit to happens to be the Lakers bench unit. Yes, the starting lineup's been great and all around their team performance has been really good, both offensively and defensively, being the top rated defense in that time frame, but let's give more credit to their bench unit. During their past 10 games now, they have been the 7th best bench unit per net rating, having a plus 1.6 net rating, and then on top of that, being the 2nd best defensive rated bench unit in the entire league. And while obviously a lot of credit goes to guys like Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, and among others like that, let's not forget about the two-way contracts. Guys like Goodwin Trey Jemison, both of which have played quite a bit for their team lately and a lot more than your regular two-way contract, especially in late February entering March. I mean, over their past 10 games now, Goodwin's played in all but one game, all of which have been actual rotation minutes, not garbage time. Trey Jemison's played in 5 of them, 4 of which were rotational minutes and not garbage time. And that's quite a bit for two-way contracts, not just one of them, but 2 of them. And then on top of that, getting playing time ahead of guys that are actually on the 15-man roster, guys like Cam Reddish, Shake Milton, and Alex Len. Jemison and Goodwin are playing ahead of them, and that's pretty telling about what Redick wants to do with them, and how they should be in the rotation and should be on the team come playoff time. But with that being said, can the Lakers do that, and should they do that even if they can? Waive a guy like Shake Milton, Cam Reddish, and or Alex Len, and then replace them with Goodwin and or Trey Jemison? We'll talk about the argument both for and against it, and for both Jemison and Goodwin individually. And well, to begin, I think we gotta understand or try to understand the financial part of it. Yes, it kind of can be complicated, so stay with me here, but at the moment, the Lakers are about $680,000 below the second apron, and they gotta stay under that, as it would definitely hurt them if they don't stay under that. But for a guy like Goodwin and or Trey Jemison, with a prorated veteran minimum contract at this point, with only about 35 days remaining in the regular season, to sign them to a minimum contract, it would only take them about $150,000 each to sign them, and replacing them with a guy like Alex Len and or Cam Reddish would cost them nothing. No, they don't gain cap space or gain financial flexibility by waiving them. It simply doesn't really hurt them at this point. They don't gain anything, but they don't lose anything financially. So yes, they can waive a guy like Alex Len, Cam Reddish, Shake Milton, or even Markieff Morris, and then replace 2 of them with Goodwin and Trey Jemison. They do have the ability to do it financially, and they could do it if they want to. But then for the argument for and against it, and for Trey Jemison first here, probably the lesser argument between them, but a growing argument at that. Playing last night for them, and probably due to Rui Hachimura being out, the Lakers couldn't really turn to their bigger small ball lineup, meaning their small ball lineup with 3 or 4 big wing players, guys like Rui Hachimura himself, often playing the 5 for them, with a combination of Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, and or LeBron. They couldn't do that, so they went with a more traditional style lineup, with a true 5 in there, being either Jackson Hayes or Trey Jemison on the court at all times for them, pretty much the entirety of all 48 minutes, and Trey Jemison played pretty well for them, playing 22 minutes, and that's nearly as much as Hayes played for them, and in that time frame being a plus 19, second on their team behind only Jared Vanderbilt, putting up 5 points, grabbing 6 rebounds, 1 block, nearly getting absolutely posterized by Zubats, but that's neither here nor there. All around playing pretty well for them and giving them great energy off the bench. And that's kind of the telltale with Trey Jemison, coming off the bench and maybe not always playing the best or always being the best fit for the matchup, but always bringing great energy and always out there with a fire on the court too. Sometimes that can lead to a flagrant foul or 2, but hey, always can rely on the guy for energy, and that's never dealt with him. And then like I mentioned, in their past 10 games now playing in 5 of them, and in the 5 games playing about 12 minutes per game, putting up about 5 points per game, shooting about 69% from the field, second on their team behind only Jackson Hayes, grabbing about 2.5 rebounds per game, being about a plus 1.6 on average per game, so not hurting them on the court even if he's not the best fit for every matchup, and simply a good guy to have off the bench for them depending on the matchup. And well, I kind of think that's part of the argument both for and against signing him. If you can't play in every matchup and you're fairly matchup dependent, then you might not be the best option for a standard guaranteed contract. But then on the other side of that, they already have a guy like that on a guaranteed contract, that being Alex Len, and he's shown to be much more matchup dependent than Trey Jemison, And obviously they expect more and rely more on Trey Jemison, even with the short time with Alex Len, shown by Reddit going to Trey Jemison last night in a physical matchup with a team like the LA Clippers and against a guy like Ivica Zubats, and going to Trey Jemison over Alex Len. So again, kind of the argument both for and against him, but definitely more for him rather than against him at this point, and he definitely is in the conversation for a standard contract. Now, is he ahead of Jordan Goodwin? Probably not, but let's talk about it. And for Jordan Goodwin, playing in 8 out of their past 10 games and averaging about 17 minutes per game in them, quite a bit for a two-way contract. Then to go along with it, 6.1 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, and that's very good for a combo guard. Not to mention 1.5 offensive rebounds per game, second on their team, or actually first per 36-minute average. Then about 1.3 steals per game, being an average +2 per game with their team when he plays, and shooting well from the field, 52.5%. Initially was shooting well from 3, but down to about 31%, but still making timely 3-point shots and often coming during the fourth quarter. All around making a big impact for their team on both ends of the court, being an all-out hustle guy for their team and definitely being a part of their bench mob on defense. Between himself, Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Gabe Vincent, they make a gigantic impact on defense, and we directly seen that in their last game against the LA Clippers. Goodwin coming off the bench and making an immediate impact coming off the bench, playing about 21 minutes, primarily during the first 3 quarters, and getting 3 steals in that time frame, second behind only Gabe Vincent, being a +14 with 5 rebounds, 3 of which being offensive rebounds, making 3 shots, having 6 points, and all around making a great impact for their team coming off the bench, definitely being an every game member of the rotation at this point. Redick has talked about that, and actually did directly talk about that last night. Not only him, but both him and LeBron James, citing both Goodwin and Trey Jemison for how well they're playing, especially being two-way contracts, and LeBron even referring to them as quote-unquote dogs.
And then our bench came in and just gave us a massive lift on the second night of a back-to-back with their energy and activity. To get that level of play from two-way guys in Trey and Goody was awesome. And Dalton just being ready on a night where who knows how many minutes he plays, and then he comes in and he does well on both ends. Made some big plays and big shots to get us going there in the first half, and then they contest and dunk in the second half. So just all those guys, Vando, +20 in 14 minutes. I think including Gabe, who ended up with 4 of them. Our bench had 9 steals. So just those guys were awesome.
What have you been getting from Goodwin and Jemison, guys like that off the bench, and what, as a leader, what are the things that you try to usher along as they're giving you all that?
Just more toughness. They bring more toughness to our group. We're already a tough group, but they bring more toughness. Just those dog factors. They make plays. Hustle plays, 50-50 balls. They get after it. But they've definitely given us some great minutes in the minutes they've been out there for us.
Like I said, both very complimentary and very high in Goodwin and Trey Jemison, likely hinting at where they might be or should be on the team going forward, not only their rotation, but on the actual 15-man roster. But with that being said, again, they do have to waive somebody to replace them with them, whether that be Alex Len, and they probably would look a little bit weird for signing him and then waiving him only about 2 weeks later, but it definitely could be an option for them. And then on top of that, today being the final day to waive somebody and them still being playoff eligible for a different team, today being the playoff eligibility deadline, so they probably do and probably should look to do that by today. I mean, it would be kind of a bad look to waive somebody tomorrow, especially for a veteran like Alex Len that very likely wouldn't get picked up by a different team if he's not playoff eligible. I mean, there's really no reason at that point. Even for Cam Reddish, maybe a playoff team might want him for a defensive wing or simply more winged up. I mean, maybe a chance that a rebuilding team would pick him up, but probably not a big chance. So again, to keep it a good look and have no bad blood between them, the Lakers probably do want to waive them by today, and who knows, they might even waive them by the time I upload this video, and then later replace them with Jordan Goodwin and or Trey Jemison. Again, not saying it has to be Cam Reddish and or Alex Len, but probably would name them the top 2 candidates, or maybe throw Markieff Morris in there. Not really a guy that plays them either, so between the 3 of them, definitely the top 3 candidates to be waived, and yes, they theoretically could replace them with Trey Jemison and or Jordan Goodwin. I'd put Goodwin as the favorite and then Trey Jemison behind them, but they're both making a case to crack the 15-man roster at this point. But with that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Jordan Goodwin, Trey Jemison, and what they've been showing lately? And should that lead to them replacing one player or even two guys in their team? And who do you think they should replace, if you think they should at all? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.